Immigration debate takes center stage. Customs and Border Protection reporting that the National Guard's deployment to the southwest border accounting for more than 10,000 arrests of illegal immigrants since mid-April. This comes as the House prepares to vote tomorrow on a resolution to support ICE, immigration enforcement agents. Joining me right now is Fox News senior strategic analyst General Jack Keane. General, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, good to see you, Maria.
So the push to deploy troops to the border was hit with a lot of backlash at first, but these numbers are revealing that there's a lot of wrongdoing, and is it working?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, the problem we have is we got an open border. We don't have enough border agents to patrol that border. And the president, rightfully so, with his advisors, has decided to build a wall to compensate for that problem. And in the absence of increasing that wall, we have about 600-700 miles of it, and some of that's not as good as it should be. And we need the equivalent of that to complete. Moving the National Guard down there makes a lot of sense. They're not necessarily directly involved in the apprehension, but they are involved in surveillance and with helicopters, with other ISR platforms, intelligence surveillance platforms, excuse me, and also providing backup to the Border Patrol in duties that free them up so that they can do the apprehension. So I think it's a very good decision. And an appropriate role also for our National Guard guys. I know they feel a sense of purpose in doing something like this, and it certainly is in their job profile to be able to accomplish this mission.
And House GOP leaders are scrapping a vote on the Democratic measure to abolish the Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency after the bill's authors said that their colleagues would vote against it. What began as a Democratic campaign against the president's hardline immigration policy now looks like it could be dividing the party. What's your take on this?
Well, some of it's just so factually wrong. I mean, ICE is not involved at the border. The Border Patrol is. ICE did not separate children from their parents. The Border Patrol folks did that because that's their duty. ICE is involved in duties away from the border in apprehending illegal immigrants who are in our country and gang members and also drug cartels. And the duties that they perform, I think, are absolutely necessary in this country if we're going to maintain a rule of law and help police these neighborhoods that are sometimes swamped by gangs and druggies. So, yeah, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And the fact that it's dividing the party, I'm delighted to see that not because I necessarily want the Democratic Party divided or any party divided, but certainly the contrarian view that exists in that party makes sense, that ICE is providing a vital service, and we certainly, what are we going to replace it with? And why go through the change? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, but, you know, Kevin McCarthy and his colleagues are basically calling the Dems out. Now we know this was just about politics. He said, let's bring it to the floor, let's vote on it, and now, you know, it's clear that it was all politics.
Well, certainly, yeah. It's a legislative body, and the way they express their views is in a vote, and that's probably the right thing to do. The good thing is ICE is not going to go away. They're going to go out there and continue to provide a function in terms of protecting the American people, and that function is vital.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this. This is an interesting story. Military spending is up, but the defense workers are in short supply. New story in the New York Times published yesterday that global defense spending is set to hit the highest level since the end of the Cold War. Yet defense industries are struggling to actually fill the job openings. Your reaction?
Well, yeah, there's challenges there. One, in the numbers, because we have close to full employment in the country. And two, in terms of the type of positions that we need. There was a time when engineers and scientists were drawn to the United States military and also to NASA because we were at the cutting edge of technology. The reality is a lot of youngsters in school today are drawn to the software industry, to the telecom industry, because they believe that is the cutting edge. And certainly some of the compensation is likely considerably larger than what you're going to find in NASA or working for the Department of Defense. But I also think it's more than a comp. I think they like the fact they're on this cutting edge, and change is very dynamic. It happens within 2 or 3 years at worst,
yeah.
And sometimes within six months to a year, and that's pretty exciting to work around all that. But in the Defense Department, we still have the largest number of PhD mathematicians in the world, and they're there because of the sense of purpose, and every single day they feel good about what they're doing. Most of them are in the National Security Agency, and they're helping to protect the American people. And once somebody signs up to do that, I'll tell you what, it has profound impact on your life. It makes you feel good about what you're doing, and your family gets wrapped up in it as well.
Let me ask you, before you go, General, about Russia after that press conference and the president's trip. What does the president need to do now, in your view, to stand firm and tough against Russia, given it is a bad actor?
Well, first of all, the summit, we don't really know what happened at the summit at all. We got some insights as a result of the two interviews after the press conference, both of which were on Fox. And that gave us insight, to be sure. The press conference, I think, was an absolute distortion, because the president struck a conciliatory, almost appeasement tone of Putin, which is in stark contrast to his policies, which are largely of confrontation. And, you know, the defense buildup, deploying troops in Eastern Europe, strengthening NATO's budget, attacking his stooge Assad twice for the use of chemical weapons, killing almost 200 Russian mercenaries in Syria when they led an attack against U.S.-led coalition forces, and all the sanctions. So we've got a tough policy on Russia that is very different than Obama's policy, but yet that was not the expression at that press conference, and the president's got to correct the mistake he made, certainly, with not backing up his intelligence community, which truly has the goods on Putin. And Putin has got to be strongly confronted on that.
You make a really important point, though. The actions and the policies have been tougher than people expected. And certainly just days before meeting with Putin, he's over there questioning the gas deal with Germany. So there you go. I mean, poking holes in that business. General, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Yeah, good talking to you, Maria.
General Jack Keane there.